I'm Ambriel Willow. I'm here with Dan O'Connell. I'm doing the XCritic interview. I'm super excited because I'm such a fan of Girlfriend's films. How did you get into this business? How did you find your niche?
How did I get into the business? Well, I was around late 40s at the time. I'm 67 years old now. Ancient, right? Dinosaur. Okay, so at any rate, this was about 20 years ago. I wanted to become a documentary filmmaker. I was always interested in history, and I wanted to do some historical documentaries like Ken Burns. He was the guy I was following at the time. And at any rate, so I took about 15 to 20 courses at UCLA Extension on filmmaking. You know, there's a woman there who wanted to make a documentary film on lesbian sex. So I was older. I was the rich kid with two good cameras. You know, back in those days, not everybody had a nice video camera. You know, they were like, you didn't have phones with video cameras at that point. So at any rate, I came in and, you know, that took over that project because it cost money. This woman didn't have money. So I actually made that movie. It was our first movie, Lesbians Uncover the Naked Truth, which we still sell, and I thought it was really good. But so people liked that film, but they wanted porn, more like the sex stuff. So that's how it all happened. So then I didn't think I would, you know, really make a lot of movies or something. I don't know. You know, you have to legally you have to keep this file system as a director producer. So I just put it in a little file drawer, and all of a sudden, you know, today we've got somewhere around 700 to 800 movies out, I believe. So today we have a huge file system. But you know, back in the old days, I thought, well, this little, you know, file envelope will keep everything. Yeah, so it grew beyond my expectations. Yeah. We went about at the third. I was still working part-time, so about the third AVN we went to, my girlfriend at the time was at the AVN with me, and she said, you know, you're going to have to like take this thing full time. Because back then, every AVN I'd go to, I would be Girlfriend's Films would be a bigger presence than I had ever realized. Yeah. You know, because that was basically you go to the AVN, all of a sudden people start talking to the industry people start talking to you, and they recognize Girlfriend's Films. And first 3 years, I was explaining who Girlfriend's Films was. Yeah. Like the fourth year, there was none of that. You know, so that was cool.
What made you decide to get into lesbian cinema? Like, of course, I love girls. I love girls.
I didn't want to see any dick in my movies. Yeah, I was sort of a porn watcher before, but it was like, before I got into it, you really couldn't find lesbian films, you know. So, and I was just really interested in lesbian scenes. Yeah. But you know, if you went into a bookstore, which is where they used to sell these things, and you look at VHS, you know, maybe out of 100 feet of shelf space, maybe, you know, 6 inches would be girl. Yeah. So they didn't have the sensuality that I wanted, or the storylines, or that sort of thing. And I thought, well, you know, I can be the first guy on the block to do this and do real well at it, as long as I do a good job.
Yeah,
so
to really capture the lesbian fantasy.
Yeah, I wanted to have sensuality. I wanted to have some I love yous in the movies, which we do. You know, we have little love affairs from time to time. And I want some kinky things. And I want some crazy things going on. But nobody was putting a lot of work into these things. You know, it was like they're pretty simple. So that's how I sort of, and then I found out I could make some money at it, and you know, who would want to do any other job in the world but shooting two girls having sex together and actually, you know, sort of directing them to, you know, to get all this done, and you know, I don't know why anybody would do anything else, really. Yeah. And I'm blessed. I don't know why it's me who's been the leading person in the world of lesbian porn, but it is. And it should be you'd think it'd be some female who does this, but it hasn't been. It's been me, who's like an old dinosaur. So I don't understand it, but I don't try to understand it, I just take it, you know.
So what makes you think that girl scenes and content is very popular these days?
As I mentioned, you know, it's popular these days, and when I got into it, it wasn't popular, but I think what it has now is some degree of sensuality to it. Also, it doesn't have penis in it, you know. You watch boy-girl, And how many guys do you think watching Boy Girl have a penis as big as that guy who's like giving it to that girl, right? You know, so never wanted to see penis anyway. You know, I'm vagina. If I can get 2 vaginas for the price of 1 movie, that works for me.
Oh yeah.
A bunch of other people have joined in to it since I got into it, and frankly, I think they've sort of copied the Girlfriends films look and what we're doing. But we've brought a sensuality, we brought stories, and we've tried to bring sort of reality. When I started making movies, you know, you had girls who were like, a lot of these companies are doing sort of the glam girls. I wanted to get the girl next door who'd just come back home from church or whatever, look like she'd, you know, come back home from the office or something, and make it look real.
Yeah.
That's one reason we have this house, so we can have girls' rooms that sort of look like they are girls' rooms, and not, you know, the girls, that girl probably never had that room when she was growing up, you know. That looks like a little too modern, or looks like Grandpa's room or something like that. So yeah, I think that's it, yeah.
In your career, what was the most important award that you received?
Well, in 2012, I got the Man of the Year award from XBiz magazine, and there's only one Man of the Year award given in the entire industry. So that was pretty cool. I knew I'd hit the top when I got that award, and there's really no, you know, where do you go from there? It's like no place. So we've gotten a lot of awards. I think, you know, our Women Seeking Women is always, that's been the most awarded series of all time in porn, actually, the most awarded series in porn. But yeah, getting Man of the Year was, that was good. And it, you know, we've always had a charity program. You know, when you buy something from Girlfriends, some of your money goes to charity. That's important to me.